Okay. I don't know what that means.
Where,
Okay, gotcha. All right, so if we're live again. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know how much of that you heard, but she wants to do a short list with all of you after our next council meeting, which is scheduled for July 5th. Is everybody okay with the July 5th day of having a council meeting on that date, which is the day we would have it, but I haven't put out the holiday schedule yet. So,
yes, I'm okay with it.
but if everybody's okay with that,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
fine.
I'll be out of town that weekend.
Do we have to have a quorum? I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. If it's not an
Yes,
official, yes, it is an official city
Yeah,
council.
we, it is list, but you can also be available for the interview part. I asked her who she wants to be on. She said, as many of you as possible. Like, this is when you get your say in the thing, but we don't have it after a council meeting. That's what I'm saying. If you want to do a different date when we can all be there. They had originally picked June 30th, which is a Wednesday. But,
I won't be here then. I'll be out of town then. So
no.
you're going to have to just find a time when we have a quorum. I mean, if Janet's going to be gone, we still have 5 of us, and we can still function on the 5th, as long as everybody else can be there. Or we'll need to have 4. So
I have no holiday conflicts, so don't consider me in it because I'll be able to show up to whatever it is that you guys need.
What about Councilor Palmer? Are you talking? You're muted.
No, I'm not talking.
No?
are we asking?
No, I'm not talking.
Oh, well, do you have any conflicts with meeting on July the 5th?
No, I'll be back. I'm leaving for Canada the 17th of June. I'll be back the 27th. But you were saying the end of June you wanted to have a meeting, or no, that was for the 5th of July.
Yeah, the 5th of July.
Okay. No, I don't have any issues.
I'm good.
I didn't hear what you said. Councilor Rigney?
I'm good with it. Sorry.
Okay. Our short list after the council meeting on July 5th then. The next part is interview. So it's a 2-day interview. The first day of the interview will be with staff and a city manager from another city. And then the second day will be the council. So she had offered me Thursday and Friday, July 15th and 16th, or Saturday and Sunday, the 17th and 18th. But I asked Friday and Saturday because my staff works on Fridays. And she said that, she knows you guys like to have meetings in the evening, but having it on Saturday, we're probably going to have at least 5 candidates. It's probably going to be a 7-hour ordeal, and you probably want to just do that on a Saturday rather than late at night. So if those dates work for you, that would be, well, for you, the only date you'd be concerned about is July 17th. That would be that Saturday. And then if anybody makes it through those 2 interview days, because these will be virtual interviews, and then anybody who moves forward from there would come for an in-person visit to Gold Hill.
Did you
I'm
say
available that
2
Saturday.
full days of interview or 1?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Did you say there was going to be 2 full days of interviewing or 1? Was it Friday and Saturday?
It will be 2 whole days of interview, but you'll only be at one of them. The first day will be the staff and another manager, and the second day will be the council. So that's why she wanted it, you know, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, Sunday. And I said, well, I'd rather do Friday, Saturday, because I don't want to have to, you know, pay people on Saturday when they're already here on Friday. That was just my concern there.
I preferred if you did, I don't really want to do it on a Saturday. I'd prefer if you did Thursday, Friday.
And that's fine with me too. Are you guys good with Thursday, Friday then?
I'm good with Thursday, Friday.
So
I
it
don't
would just
wanna
be
do
you, it would
Saturday.
just be you on Friday.
Mhm.
Friday, July 16th.
I'm available. the
Kathy's
16th.
okay with that one?
Good.
Okay, perfect. Let her know. You'll all be receiving an email from her as well if you haven't already. I don't know if I sent those out yet, but it will a full timeline, everything that's going on. Maybe she was just me to confirm these dates before she said an email from her. I gave her your emails, so those, and it'll have more detail about the schedule. And that's everything on that.
Good. Okay, so is there anything, Jessica, that we're going to be involved with prior to the virtual interviews? The short.
Yes, as I said, sending you out a schedule, details on everything that's happening. I don't have that, but she will be emailing you that.
Excellent.
May ask you, Mayor, to be part of the community involvement part of it, but other than that, the counselors just be present for the short list, the interview.
Oh, the counselors and mayor?
Yes.
Okay, we'll discuss that. You're very quiet. Okay, step 2, Committee for Citizen Involvement Fee. Jessica, do you want to? lead
I
that?
don't have anything to say. I put it on the agenda because requested to the council to discuss the debriefing. I will tell you that I did speak with the attorney and recommended that a counselor run the meeting from now. That was his recommendation.
Can you repeat that?
You said a counselor is
Yeah.
supposed to run the meeting? Well, how come we're just now finding out about what the attorney said?
I don't understand what you're saying.
You said you spoke to the attorney and the attorney suggested that you have a counselor run the meeting and we're just now finding out about this?
No. Our code book says the counselor or their designee runs the code book. The attorney said after the was that in the future, if you hold more meetings, you have a different counselor run the meetings.
Oh, okay. You didn't make sense. That's why I was questioning. You go, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask specifically why a different counselor should run the meetings?
Danielle, I have one for you.
Because,
Counselor. I read the charter on the Committee for Citizens Involvement, and it was ran poorly. If you read the last chapter in the charter, it says that there was supposed to be no disruptions, no bashing of people, no anything like that, and you let it go since you were running the meeting. So if you look in the charter and you read that last chapter, you will understand what we're talking about. That's where everybody's like, what was going on there?
So specifically, the last chapter says that there are to be no defamatory statements.
And there was plenty.
By my judgment, there was not. And
Well,
by
then you
my
have poor judgment.
I let you finish. Can you let me finish, please, Counselor? Those are citizen-led meetings. Those citizens have a First Amendment right to free speech. So unless they're actually making accusatory statements against people, I don't see that anything that they said was defamatory or could be held as defamatory in a court of law. I am a counselor. I took an oath to uphold the United States Constitution, which includes not violating citizens' First Amendment rights. And so therefore, a citizen-led committee meeting, they are allowed to discuss whatever it is that they want. And until they are going to make accusatory statements or false statements, provably false statements in a court of law, I'm not going to shut them down. And if what you're wanting is another counselor to take over who's going to censor citizens and what they have to say, then I have to make an objection towards that.
Okay.
They were absolutely not allowed to talk about whatever they want to talk about. There was an agenda in that meeting, and the meeting was supposed to stick to that agenda. It was
Thank you.
not an hour.
Specifically, it is a citizen-made
It
agenda.
was an agenda about the town. It was not an agenda to bash all of the city employees and all of the other counselors. That's not what the agenda was. That is not what it was about. And that's what it was. It was ridiculous. And if you think that was okay, then you shouldn't be running the meeting.
I have a list of over 15 items that they discussed about the town and about planning.
All I picked
And
out
you
of that
also
whole
have a list
meeting was
of
how
all
they
the
did bash
negative
everybody.
comments they said about.
There were two people talking and I didn't hear either one of you.
Of course you didn't.
I said, and do you also have a list of all the negative and lies and derogatory, untrue statements that they made about everybody else? And you can't say that they're true or they're not true. So they shouldn't have been able to get on there on a live stream and bash everybody in this town. That's not what this is about. It was not a forum for them to go on and continue their Facebook rants.
Specifically, if they were sitting in a council chamber and they said it, would I have shut them down? No. I think what everybody's upset about is the fact that these are online meetings and now it's online. And I think that's what everyone is upset about, because if this was in a private council chamber, it would not have been broadcast on the internet and nobody would have shut them down in a private council chamber.
That is not true. If it was in a private council chamber and there was an agenda to stick to, then it would have stuck to that agenda. That agenda had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with Tony. It had nothing to do with Jessica. It had nothing to do with Ron, but all of our names were brought up in that meeting. So no, it would have been shot down in a private chamber.
Specifically, the agenda item was, is this to be a family town or a tourist town, which is a very general question about planning and things going forward. And so, yes, counselors, employees, all of this is open for topic. It's a very general topic about the direction of the town.
Then it didn't even go in that direction. It didn't even start out about anything about where we were going to be a tourist town or what
I
we're gonna do
asked
with
that
our
question
land.
several times. I
You might
asked
have
that
asked
question.
the question, but nobody addressed that question. It was
If
all
they don't
about
stick to the
city
topic,
employees.
it's not my job to keep continuously. No, it's
Yes,
not.
it is.
It is. It absolutely is.
Specifically, I'm going to look up the exact wording of how the agenda is to be formed.
And then you need to look up how to run a meeting.
It's a citizen-led meeting.
Well, I would like to go with the attorney's suggestion and a different counselor run these meetings if we need to have a counselor in them.
So, you know, you don't have to have it run it. You can designate else to run the meeting. It's the council or the league.
You can designate who to run the meeting?
It doesn't specify, it just says you can designate other than a counselor to run the meeting.
Given that, I think that we should designate, ask, at each meeting, ask one of the citizens to run the meeting.
No, absolutely not. No.
Why not?
So you're
It's
going
a
to ask
citizen-
one of those citizens to run the meeting? That
Yes.
are running it wrong?
It's by the charter, it's a citizen-led meeting. Let the citizens lead it. Why are you afraid of that?
I'm not afraid of it. What I'm tired of
obviously
is
you
being
are.
accused of things constantly that are untrue. And that's the only two people that showed up to this meeting are the people that are doing that. The other people that were in the waiting room that actually wanted to come in and actually talk about the agenda left because they didn't want to have anything to do with it. So the actual good input that we would have gotten walked away because they're like, I don't want to have anything to do with this.
There was
Well,
no one
that's
kept
their
in the
choice.
waiting room.
That's their choice.
Everyone who showed up was allowed to speak, and I specifically asked that
They were.
everyone that I saw whether or not they had anything that they would like to say. And there were more than 2 people that showed up. Elizabeth Butterfield was there. There was another gentleman there, and I
John
asked
Broom.
every citizen if they wanted to speak.
Did John Brune speak?
Nope. He was
chose
given an
to
opportunity
rather than
to.
speak.
And he didn't want to because of what was going on.
That's his choice. It's a citizen-led meeting. That's
Well,
my
it doesn't
charter.
sound like very,
We're not supposed to
No.
control it.
okay, it's not a citizen-led meeting. It is a citizen involvement meeting to
Thank you.
facilitate two-way communication. It is not, I'll read the exact verbiage, and I think this will make it clear. Okay, so this is 216.050 section B on page 22 of our ordinances. The citizen involvement program and the committee for citizen involvement will be coordinated by the city council or such person as the council designates. The council or designate will moderate the meetings of the committee for citizen involvement and shall be empowered to 1, call to order, 2, eject any persons for disorderly conduct, including but not limited to derogatory or defamatory statements, and 3, adjourn the meetings. So that's second section, persons who were making derogatory or defamatory statements, therein lies the problem. Now, in terms of citizen-led or citizen involvement, 216.010, page 21.1, created. Committee involvement is created for the purpose of assuring widespread citizen involvement in all phases of the growth and development of the city and surrounding areas. The Committee for Citizen Involvement shall be subject to all the terms and conditions set forth. So it's not a free-for-all. It is not led by citizens. It's allowing the public forum to ensure that they have a voice and their concerns are heard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for clarifying that.
And I can say further that because of the blowback that some of us heard, I got an earful from a number of people saying simply it was a shit show. It's like, what is this doing conducting sessions like this? So Again, I wasn't at the time. I went back and reviewed it. I reviewed it, and then I called RV Cog. They recommended me to the CIS insurance people. Their person is reviewing it, and I'm sure I'm going to speak with him tomorrow. We'll have some from him, and we'll follow up because we essentially need to list and control our insurance rates.
As far as it goes, you guys don't have to do anything tonight. You can think about it. The next meeting isn't until June.
Jessica, we're not getting anything you're saying.
You're not getting anything I'm saying? You don't have to make a decision about the meeting tonight if you want to do that. Meeting isn't until June.
I personally don't care who leads the citizen involvement committees. I was not aware that there was an issue with my conduct during the meeting, considering that I participated very little other than to try and get the meeting back on order. But if there's an issue with other counselors in how I lead the meetings, that's fine. But this doesn't sound like an issue with me. This sounds like an issue with citizen opinions. This sounds like an issue with something that citizens said. And so, yes, if somebody else wants to lead them, that's perfectly fine, because I absolutely refuse to shut down citizens' free speech.
It absolutely was an issue with the way you led the meeting. You did let it be a free-for-all and didn't keep it to the agenda and let all these derogatory, whether or not you agree with them or not, you let them all happen. It was an issue with the way you conducted the meeting and the way you let it go on.
In a citizen involvement committee meeting, it is my understanding they're there to discuss amongst themselves their opinions on issues and to report back to council what their consensus is. That is my understanding. And as long as I am leading the meetings, I will reaffirm that I will not shut down what it is that they have to say unless what they are specifically saying are accusatory statements accusing city staff or councilors of legal issues that are potentially illegal.
I would love to see how you acted if they were saying all this about you instead of everybody else here. I love the way you're the only one that they don't ever talk about.
What part of what Mayor Studebaker read didn't you understand, Councilor Hinckley?
If you would like to take over the meetings, Councilor Palmer,
that's not what I just
feel
said.
Free to do so.
That's not what I just asked. What part didn't you understand of how you're supposed to conduct that meeting?
I just specifically said that
you were going to do it your way, is what you specifically said.
No, what I said was that I was going to let them discuss amongst themselves what it is that they had to say. I tried to get them back on agenda several times. It is not my job to corral adults into going back to the agenda. They're going to discuss what it is that they're going to discuss. What I said is that I am not going to censor free speech. If they have something to say, I'm going to let them say it. So if you would like to take it over, feel free. I will not sit at the head of a meeting and violate citizens' First Amendment rights.
Well, I'm not sure where you're finding what's acceptable, what's not, but let's get back to our charter, our ordinances, and what it states is such person as is leading the meeting is to control things so that disorderly conduct, including but not limited to derogatory and or defamatory statements about persons can be ejected. That's the problem. Defamatory, defaming someone, derogatory. Are you asserting that nothing derogatory was stated about people in this meeting?
What I am specifically saying is that I will not stop a citizen the same way as if a citizen were to show up to an in-person meeting and public input and call out a counselor or call out an employee, which they have done on numerous occasions in the 2.5 years that I have sat in this seat, I am not going to stop those statements. No, I will not, because they're free to come into public input and say any of those things. And so I'm not going to stop it in a meeting either. And so any counselor who would like to take over this position of coordinating and chairing those meetings, you can go right ahead and do so. I will not censor citizen speech.
So she's basically saying she won't do what our
Okay,
charter says.
no.
She just needs to be taken off of this and not.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, we will.
Well, can we make a motion
Sure is
to
clear that-
expel Ms.
The
Hinckley
charter
off
is
off
clear
that
that-
committee? Because that'd be fine with me.
You don't have to expel me. Somebody else just has to volunteer to do it.
Nobody else has to volunteer for you not to do it.
No, all the mayor has to do is appoint somebody else. He runs the committees.
So I don't think that we have to decide today who will run these, the next citizen involvement. But the fact that you are asserting that despite clear language that no derogatory or defamatory can be made, and you have vehemently denied shutting that down, then you're not appropriate to run that meeting. We'll
Then I'm
come
not
up with another
appropriate to run it,
person.
Mayor.
Correct, because you're not complying with the rules that are laid out in our ordinances.
No, because I feel that the First
So-
Amendment supersedes this ordinance.
You know, I don't know. I didn't realize you were an attorney, Daniel. You're coming up with this gobbledygook language that means
It's not
nothing. You got
gobbledygook,
clear-
Mayor. It's the First Amendment of the United States of America.
You do know that you swore to uphold the charter and the ordinances.
I
right?
also swore to uphold the
Okay.
U.S. Constitution,
No, well,
Counselor.
you swore to uphold our ordinances and our charter, and you're refusing to do it.
I swore
I think
to
that's an
uphold the
ethical
Constitution of the United States of America.
I'd like to suggest that we terminate this discussion because it is devolving into a lot of disrespect. And I think that a lot of what I'm seeing on here is an embarrassing behavior. I'm talking about people's body language, even when they're not speaking. People are observing this. I think we need to bring in legal counsel and have a work session on how this should work and what can happen and what can't happen. Piling on and beating up Danielle here is pretty unflattering, people.
Well, where you were when that meeting was going on, Malia, because that's what was going on in that meeting about us. The same thing you're stating now was happening then. And all we're asking is viable questions on why it was taking place.
Well, okay, I was not obligated to be at that meeting, neither were you, and you weren't there either, but I have also reviewed the tape. And I agree with Danielle. People have a right to say certain things. And I think we need legal counsel because I do think that First Amendment rights are being violated here. So I think we need to bring in legal counsel. I think the way you are treating Danielle right now is embarrassing. It's disrespectful. It's a black eye on Gold Hill. Once again, you're making a bad situation worse.
So it's okay for us to be talked about like that and for us to be slammed like that. And then it's freedom of speech.
That's by
but if you
citizens.
say it,
That's by
it's not
citizens.
freedom of speech.
As city councilors, you have a greater responsibility. That was citizens speaking.
I do have a greater
This is city
responsibility.
council. Yes, a greater responsibility to treat people respectfully.
I expect
We
to be
are public
treated respectfully
figures.
at the same time.
And so therefore open to criticism.
Mayor Studebaker, may I suggest that you end the discussion, please?
Had nothing.
The thing that I'm concerned about here is that we're asking questions and she answered the questions. She's not going to go with the charter. Not beating up on anybody. That's just asking questions. Why did you allow it to happen? She says, because she believes in freedom of speech. Got that. But the charter also says this, and the mayor read it, and she just told us she's not going to uphold the charter on that. That answered the question for me.
It comes down to the definition of defamation and derogatory speech, and that's why we need legal counsel. And also what control we have over citizens speaking, private citizens speaking in a public meeting. They have a right to say certain things. That's
And-
why we need legal counsel. And we're not going to get anywhere on this tonight with everybody's emotions running as high as they are right now.
Right. Let's move.
Leah's brought up some good points. I think we do need some outside of this. We can all agree that when you get legal counsel, the clock's a tick. It's about $2.50 an hour. IAS also provides lead-ins. They have a slew of attorneys, and that's why I talk to them. They are reading this. We will be back or discussing back their things and their recommendation. Malia also said something else that I liked, which was maybe we need to go back, and I know that we have all been trained on appropriate public meeting decorum, because that was one of the in our initial training. It probably wouldn't hurt us to review that, and we'll get some more training. So we will go ahead and take all these things into consideration. And Jessica, maybe have this on the meeting on the agenda for the next meeting. We'll provide updates from all of our partners.
Thank you.
Okay, 7.3, second reading of ordinance 2101, amend Title 8 of the Muni Code. Jessica, would you lead that conversation?
Sure. I'd like to just read the ordinance by title.
That's fine.
I know that you asked me the fee schedule prepared, but I just don't have it yet. But I will before we start acting on the ordinance. So try to bring meeting. Ordinance number 2101. So the City of Gold Hill, Oregon, Chapter 8 of the Gold Hill Municipal Code, establish fees and fines. The second reading. Someone just wants to make a motion to that.
Is there a motion to accept this resolution?
Motion to 22R2.
Second.
Moved and seconded, call please.
Shad,
Yes.
Counselor Haynes,
No.
Counselor Rigney,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Kelston,
Yes.
Counselor Gino,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay. Proposed resolution 21R2, supporting the development of the Whitewater. Jessica?
Yeah. Well, I do have a couple, I don't know if he is here. He did ask me, we talked about some ways to revise the word this. Or two, if instead of the city of Hill will continue to support the development of Whitewater Park by working with the Rogue Valley Council of Governments. Instead, we say by authorizing the Rogue Valley Council of Governments and the Gold Hill Whitewater Center to apply permits and grants on behalf of.
So please repeat which of the words that we do, which of the words that we would add in?
Yeah, in the resolution part, the city of Gold Hill will continue to support the development of the Gold Whitewater Park at Tillameek Falls, which is a part of the Gold Hills Park, by authorizing Rogue Valley Council of Governments, Gold Hill Whitewater Center to apply for grants on behalf of the city.
All the same.
Everything.
All of the verbs the same. Okay, is there to accept this?
Motion to accept resolution 2021R2.
Can we have discussion?
I second.
It's been moved, discussion.
So it's my understanding that we still have not picked a lead on this project.
We are.
If we are lead, that is in specific violation of the Parks Master Plan.
No,
Okay,
it is not.
site, reference, paragraph, page, line number.
One moment and I will pull up the Parks Master Plan because it says it in several places.
No, it doesn't anywhere. Lead agency, look at that page. Was this moved and seconded?
Yes, it was.
Any other thoughts on the question of who takes the lead or whether that is specifically precluded by the charter or ordinance?
Yes, one moment, because I'm looking up the city master plans to specifically define the page that Councilor Rigney would like.
It was moved and seconded.
Counselor, would you read the section that you're referring to?
Discussion. Discussion is supposed to follow seconding.
I think you're looking for page 34.
Right, that's what we're doing. Counselor Rigney, please read the section that you just referred to.
She'll be looking for it for a while.
The first place that it's mentioned is on the bottom section of the chart on page 33 of the Parks Master Plan. Sports parks, support Whitewater Park, $100,000, $20,000 large, big project, but Gold Hill is not taking the project lead.
Does it say not planning on taking the project lead?
One moment, I'm looking up the other areas that it also says we're not taking the project lead. On page 34 in the second paragraph, it says the other project for which the city is not planning to take the lead is the Whitewater Park. If the city will not be the lead agency or entity for this project, it is important to figure out the entity in charge of the project and execute sufficient agreements so that the lead entity can seek independent funding with assurance that the use and deployment of any procured funds will be authorized by the city on its land.
Does the word if mean anything to you?
Does the sentence, the other project for which the city is not planning to take lead is the Whitewater Park, mean anything to you?
Planning, not planning to take the lead, which doesn't mean we haven't. Now, if you're going to have a project and you're going to have your house done with something, with anything, are you going to make your next door neighbor or the Klingon Empire the lead agency? That's for road, state highway control, county stuff that's going through town. Of course, we don't take the lead on state roads.
Page 40, second bullet point. The Whitewater Park is not a project that Gold Hill is taking the lead for the improvement of infrastructure financing. However, the city owns the land. Most important part of getting this project funded is for the city to be as flexible as possible with respect to the use of its land for the Whitewater Park development process.
Did we move and second this motion?
I am
Is the
putting out
discussion
the
done?
discussion and the objection right now that if you pass this as the city as lead, you are in direct violation of the Parks Master Plan. You asked me where it says we're not taking lead. Then another counselor asked where, well, planning. Yes, it says multiple places throughout the Parks Master Plan that we are not taking lead. We are not planning to take lead. And if you want to take lead, then we need to amend the Parks Master Plan and go through the process of amending the Parks Master Plan, because the Parks Master Plan explicitly states in multiple locations that we are not taking lead on this project.
It is amazing that you are the only person on earth that reads that master plan and the lead agency sections that way.
I don't know how you can read, we are not taking lead on this project in any other way. It's in English.
The only place it says we're not taking the lead is for financing, and we've just addressed that by making an adjustment to the resolution that the Whitewater Park the Steve's Park thing is going to take over getting financing. That is the only place in the Whitewater Park that it says we are not going to take the lead. Not
It says it
planning
in
to,
several.
not going, not planning on it does not mean we can't. That is not a definite, no, you are not allowed to do this. That's at the time this was written, they weren't planning on it. That doesn't mean we can't do it.
I read the Marks Master Plan as saying where it says we're not going to take lead, we're not going to take lead, because that's English.
Well, we all disagree with you, so.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you all had a discussion about it before, and you know that all of the counselors disagree with me.
Okay, but I disagree and Bill disagree. I shouldn't have said we all. Haven't heard from the other counselors, so.
I disagree.
Let me redirect. Let's redirect. What the resolution states is that the RV COG and the Whitewater Center are applying for permits and grants. They're taking the lead. The city is not taking the lead.
On behalf
Am I
of
missing
who?
something?
On behalf of who?
The city, of course.
No.
Are you not processing this here?
Counselor Wilson
What
just
the
said that she
authorization
read
is
in the
for.
Parks Master Plan that for the purposes of financing, that the city would not be taking lead. I see that applying for permits in the name of the city is having the city take financial lead on this project.
Have you read the resolution, Danielle? Look at it right now.
Yes, I
It
read
states-
all of the documents before the meetings.
The city of Goldfield. Okay, I'm going to read it. Now listen, please. The school continues to support the development of the Whitewater Park at Tillameek Falls, which is part of the Gold Hill Sports Park, by authorizing RV COG and the Gold Hill Whitewater Center to apply for grants and permits on behalf of the city.
Grants
They
and
just-
permits on behalf of the city, which puts the city as financial
Yeah.
lead.
Had it with
Oh,
and the basic objecting to every damn thing that's English language. I'm done. This thing has been motioned and seconded. Do we have a vote coming?
is there any other new information that the council can consider before we vote on this resolution? Jessica, roll call.
Coach Shad,
Sorry, you cut out. Were you calling me?
yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry to vote.
The vote is yes.
I still can't hear you. It cuts out every time.
Okay, the vote is yes.
Yes,
Yes, on the resolution.
thank you.
Sure.
Counselor
Yes.
Hink,
No.
Palmer,
Yes.
Counselor Rigney,
Yes.
Counselor,
Was that me?
yes.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, we're down the stretch, you guys. Last consideration, 7.5, proposed resolution 20R3, supporting Water Park as a potential the 2028 Games Whitewater event. Jessica?
So this is the one for the council to send a letter to her telling her they support Olympic Committee. Steve Kiesling is in the waiting. Would like to hear from him. But that's up. The same resolution, so there's no changes to this. Did anybody have any questions first?
I'd like to move that we pass resolution 21R-3.
Seconded.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Been moved in second conversation?
So it's my understanding that we're inviting an Olympic event to Gold Hill. Just to be clear,
Yes.
to a slalom that hasn't even been built yet. Sounds like you're putting the cart before the horse to me. We haven't gotten any permits. Nothing has been approved. None of the studies have been done. We just passed the resolution tonight that the city is going to take lead on this. You have no idea what the surveys are going to show when they go to blast the rock in the river. You have no idea what the environmental impact studies are going to show. You have no idea whether or not this is going to be approved at the county level. And now you're putting the cart before the horse, inviting the 2028 Gold Hill Olympic Committee to come here and look at something that hasn't even been built. It was just approved tonight.
Can I say something?
Only if the council has questions for you.
Steve, I have a question for you. How much permitting process and how far along are we on getting this job done?
We've done we've basically done the design and we've done the fish passage stuff. So everything's in place to file the permits. We know what the environmental impacts are. We've done a lot of work on this thing. And so what Councilor Hinckley said is simply, it's just not accurate. And no matter how many times I've tried to explain it to her, she refuses to listen to the answers to the questions. And I keep getting the same questions again and again.
So when you said that citizens would have the right, when it went in front of the county, to object, and that they would have an opportunity at every standpoint to make themselves heard, and that there would be multiple approval processes before this was done, was that true?
Yes, and there will
So
be.
then it has not been fully approved to go forward.
Can I, okay, let me answer that question. Right now, as you know, the most important thing is that the council has reiterated its support for the Whitewater Park, which has been ongoing since 2012 and actually before. So we're finally in a position where we can just apply for these permits and apply for funding. Nobody in town wants to give the park to the county or the state. It's been made very clear by the citizens of Gold Hill that they want to own the park. They want to continue to own the park. And so anyway, that part has been established. Now there is this flyer, right? And probably a snowball's chance in hell that the Olympics come here. But the governor of Oregon has indicated an interest in pitching this to LA for the Olympics. Now, LA will probably say no, but there is a chance that, like 1996, LA will decide that maybe this is worth looking into. The advantage to Gold Hill in being in that game is that we suddenly, if we have the possibility of the first Olympic event in Oregon history happening in Gold Hill, all of the grants that we're applying for, whether they're water treatment plants, parks grants, downtown grants, you name it, we will have a much better chance of getting those grants. And we also have a small chance of getting the Olympics. And if you're a child in a town which was a big deal in 1920 and has been really declining since then, it would be a really important thing to establish, for little kids at Patrick to say, oh my God, the Olympics is coming here. And it would be for 1 week. 1 week we would have serious traffic. And then we would have people who would know forever that this was an Olympic venue, and that would be important. It's a very small chance of a very large dream, and that large dream would last for a very short time, but at the same time, it would feed this town in countless ways. So to not step up, not even to ask the question, when the governor is willing to ask, and just to support that. I mean, as an Oregonian, I think it's worthwhile to support the state stepping up, just as the state has supported the Whitewater Park. This is a no-lose situation for us. And
My argument still stands, and my question is still the same. No permits have been approved to go ahead with this project. The project can still be stopped
Okay, we hear
at multiple
your
levels.
assertion.
yes, the
All right,
project can be stopped. There will be plenty of opportunity for public input along
And
the
so
way.
inviting
You
the
have-
Olympics here before the project has been approved at every level to go forward is premature, in my opinion,
Okay.
which is
Well,
the only thing that I have stated.
I think it would be appropriate to move forward at this time.
okay.
Move to adopt resolution 21R3.
It's already been moved and
It's already been moved and seconded.
Yeah. Are there any points to consider to voting on this? Jessica, roll call.
Counselor Wilson,
yes.
Counselor Rigney,
Yes.
Counselor Ulmer,
Yes.
Counselor Hinckley,
No.
Counselor Ginaw,
Yes.
Counselor Bishad,
Yes.
resolution passes.
Okay, very good. Reports from counselors. Any counselor would like to give us a date on what they've been active with and any developments in the city?
I'd like to jump in here and give a big kudos to the guys from B&B, Tim and David, for the cleanup job they did at the, excuse me, the river park, the sports park, and the beach down here, as well as Shannon and Tony and the rest of the staff. I give kudos to every meeting, but they did a fine job. The beach is coming along. We've got to make sure we can get a really good cleanup on that beach, which means a lot of inspections by fire department, Mark and them guys, to make sure we've got proper clearance around our trees and everything else that we want to save. And we probably won't be able to, maybe not be able to get the burn in this year down at the beach, but certainly the sports park will be burned. But if we can get our volunteers together, we can get Richard, the Friends of the Park, whoever, we can mount a pretty good attack on this thing and probably be able to burn the beach in the fall.
Actually, that's going to start, Bill, Thursday.
Not the beach, the park.
Oh,
Right, they're gonna burn the, excuse me, burn the park on Thursday. That's what I understood. But I talked to Mark down on the beach this morning, and we do have a lot of cleanup and a lot of prep to go before we do any burning down here on the beach. But it looks great.
The whole bike path is just, I've seen things I didn't even know were there. It's amazing.
We really are getting our riverfront project. Looks great. Anyone else?
Specifically, I would like to address some of the things that were brought up at the Citizen Involvement Committee. One of the issues that I felt was most concerning that was brought up by citizens was the Riparian Way ordinance. That's something that I would like to see on the next agenda or a work session, because it is something that's hindering this town from expanding our UGB. It's something that's hindering us from moving forward on a number of things. And I think that it's appropriate for the council to take up the Riparian Way ordinance.
Ms. Hinckley, we're working with Central Point right now on that. And they're going to be helping us going over the Riparian Way for the city.
I would still like to request a work session for counselors to discuss it, whether Central Point is with us or not.
Okay. Your position is noted. I would remind everyone that we are going to be doing a lot of meetings with our city manager search in the next 2 months. So we can pick it up after that, but I don't see adding more sessions in with our schedule as it was laid by Jessica. Anyone else? I'd like to update everyone on the treasure hunt, spearheaded and ideated by Edward Miller, playwright here in town. The short version is half a day on a Saturday. Was going to be June 12th, but Governor Kate Brown's COVID restrictions probably preclude that. So it's been pushed back 3 weeks to July 3rd. So on July 3rd from noon to 3, this is really targeted for children ages 5 to 11. And it's an outdoor thing that there'll be their parents, kind of an adventure and be next to the river and down in the park next to the beach. So it should be a lot of fun. Ed's done this several times before, and children have come back to him 20 years later saying, I remember when, and just went on and on. So it'll be very, very fun. It has been supported by funding. So we've got all of the park sites. It is designed to be something that can run on its own. We'd love to have the involvement of the 2 schools, and hopefully the middle school Avid Honor Society students will take this on an ongoing basis for 3 years. There'll be a further information in the water bill on that. Anyone else? Okay, department reports.
Have much report. You know, the guys have been working their heart out in the park, but you just reminded me about our bill. We had more issues with our software. The bills haven't gone out. We should get them out tomorrow. Yeah, that's all I have to report.
We really appreciate everything that's coming out of the hall, both inside. We know everyone is working hard, but the results have been great. I've had a half dozen people in the last week come up to me and say, this is the best the city since I've lived here. some of them for 30 years. So thank you. Thank you, sales staff. Okay, good of the order. Number 10.
And I too would like to give a shout
If
out.
there are no,
Oh,
go ahead.
I thought you were jumping in, Brad. Once again, I'd like to give a shout out to our city staff that did a great job. That's a lot of hard work over there for those guys, and we really appreciate it. I too have had a lot of people come down and look over my bank over here and come from the sports park and say, "My God," they said the same thing. They said they've seen things that they didn't even know were there, and they didn't even know how much room there was. So it's really coming along, and that beach is going to be spectacular.
Kudos to all. Okay, if there's nothing else, this meeting's adjourned.
Good night, all.